Hello everybody, this is Stephen Howson. This is Full Time Devils. This is Champions League preview. Come on, FC Basel versus Manchester United. I am absolutely buzzing to be back. I cannot wait to be in the Stretford tomorrow night as that music starts playing and it's just about getting cold enough for it to be really feeling like it's Champions League. I am joined today by Suf. I am joined by work shadowing Yassir. And as always, John Shin's joining us as well. Welcome, gents. How's everybody doing?
Good,
great,
fantastic.
All right, beautiful. So we are back in the Champions League, and do you know what? It wasn't the force of momentum that I was hoping for it to be this week because of the draw at weekend. So where does this sit in everything for you at the moment? So I'm going to come to you first. How happy are you we're back in the Champions League, and what's your expectation of this group stage at least?
I think firstly, it's great that we're back in the Champions League. I think as a club, we've got a lot of pioneering history within the competition. So it's good that we're back in there. You know, Sir Matt's achievements, Sir Alex's achievements, some happy moments, and undoubtedly our greatest tragedy. Yeah, but let's not go there. That's a tragedy, if you like. But obviously, undoubtedly, one of our greatest tragedies came as a result of this competition. So it holds a lot for us. So it's good that United are back in there again amongst the European elites from around Europe. I think in terms of the importance of the competition for us this season, I don't think it should be our bread and butter, just like it is for our friends at Anfield, who have nothing else to shout about other than the 5 times that they've won it. For us, I think it's...
Oh, we've lost him. I'm going to come to you then, Yassir. How important is it for us to be back in the Champions League?
For me, extremely important. You know, I didn't grow up watching my team play on a Thursday, really, and you know, I don't want to get to the point where it's the usual thing for us to play on a Thursday. Kind of, that's not what I'm used to. Yeah, it'll be good, you know, to hear that music and to see us playing actual high-level competition football and see how we come up against, you know, the big teams across Europe.
Suf's back. Suf, do you want to finish what you were saying?
I think in terms of the actual Champions League itself, for us as an opportunity, it's a good chance for us to gauge where we're at in terms of our level amongst the big teams. I don't think we're quite in the same bracket as the likes of PSG or Real Madrid in terms of the sort of quality we've got in our squad, but it's just something for us to aspire towards getting as far as we can. This season will be the 50th anniversary of the 68 triumph as well. So, you know, it would be good if we can get as far as we can and, you know, get to the quarterfinals. And if we get knocked out there, I'd be happy with the progress, really, and then we can build on something for next season.
John, Suf just mentioned that quarterfinals is an achievement, and we're not probably in the top 4 or 5 teams in Europe. I tend to agree. I think if we got to the quarterfinals, that would be fine. If we got to the semi-finals, that would possibly be overachieving. But if we don't reach the semi-finals, would that be a failure for Jose Mourinho?
I don't believe so. I think Champions League without Manchester United is like watching your Dark Knight without the Joker. You know, we're always hated, but you know you got to have a bit of Heath Ledger Joker. And Manchester United is cemented in the history of the Champions League, and we need to be there. And, you know, with that being said, whatever the squad, whatever the state of the club, you know, we'll always be bringing a damn good competition to the Champions League. And like you just mentioned there, we might not be in the top 5, top 6, or whatever you want to call it. A lot of the other European teams across the board have strengthened very, very well. And I think semifinals is a huge achievement. I think with the fact that us getting to the semifinals, I can't ask for any more this Champions League season. But with that being said, I want to be upset over quarterfinals finish. I think this is still I still would consider this a first re-entry into the Champions League. I don't really consider Louis van Gaal's entry into the Champions League as a full-on re-entry of Manchester United. I think Jose Mourinho can really work this team. I think he still has potential to work this team further. And I think by sort of using this Champions League as the transition phase for Jose Mourinho, I think, you know, we still have next season to look forward to. But, you know, the season's young. You never know what's going to happen.
You do never know what's going to happen, and sometimes the best team in Europe doesn't win the Champions League. But I think it would be a big achievement for us to reach the semi-final stage this season, considering the transition that we're still going through. I still think we're a little bit of experience and maybe 1 or 2 signings and positions being just a bit more solid, and that could happen over the course of this season. We could see players emerge and performances emerge, but for me, standing right at this moment, just before the first group stage, doesn't feel like we're ready to compete on that level just yet. So the defence is a big talking point, and the weekend's game was arguably drawn, although I nearly said lost because it feels like a loss. We dropped them 2 points because of 2 individual errors from the defence, arguably 3 individual errors with Damien potentially should have been stopping the cross. But do you have any worries about the defence going into this competition, considering the fact that Bailly and Jones were looking so solid prior to weekend and they're not going to feature? We are looking at Smalling and Lindelof to be starting tomorrow night. Suff, that is.
To be honest with you, I think if you put into context the international break, the guys are coming back, maybe not as polished and as sharp as they should have been. I think Bailly and Jones both played as well, or both were involved in the international break for their respective countries. So I think, whilst they shouldn't have made those errors and whilst they looked quite strong at the start of the season, I think it's a compliment to the squad that United are building, that we're disappointed with getting a draw at Stoke, who I think are going to be a tough opposition for some of the big teams this season, because they've got quite a physical sort of team. They've got quite a lot of strength and height in there. We've got depth in our squad, which obviously gives opportunity now for Lindelof and Smalling, who we're probably going to play tomorrow, to build up a bit of a partnership. But I think if we're just going to be focusing on individual errors, then we can focus on the fact that Pogba wasn't at his sharpest, and maybe Rashford wasn't at his ultimate sharpest either. So it's just a bit of a wear and tear, I think, after the international break. International breaks, I think, are just pointless, but it's something that we've got to put up with as fans. And I think once we get back into the rhythm of things, starting tomorrow, I think we'll be back to our best again that we've shown at the start of the season.
John, Suff mentioned that it was individual player mistakes there. Do we have to accept that individual players are going to make mistakes, or is that just something that we have to hammer out and say, look, as a team we have to be prepared for this, and at the highest level it is those one mistakes that can be the difference between being champions and runners-up, can it?
You said both true statements in that one sentence right there. As much as it is individual errors that might cost us games, this is the time to be hammering these things out. This is the start of the season. And like we said, we sat here in the previous shows and we said just when Manchester United steamroll the first few teams, we shouldn't get carried away with these results. We shouldn't get carried away with these 4-0 results. I think it's the same thing. As much as I felt like this was a loss as well, I think the 2-2 draw against Stoke isn't something to be panicking about. Of course, it was the defensive errors that did cost us the full 3 points. But if there's any point in this stage to be in the season to be making these errors, hopefully for us, it's the early stages, so that Jose Mourinho can see these errors, go back into the training grounds with the guys, and really fix these things out, because this is the time to be doing so, and we should be thankful in some sense. I'm not thankful that we were clumsy at the back and conceded goals, but if there's any point in the stage to be making these errors, it's now, and we need to fix these errors going forward.
Who knows, we might look back at the end of the season and be like, this was a crucial point for us, because Chelsea would have come here and lost, and City might come here and lost, and Liverpool the same. So
excuse me, sorry. Yassir.
Am I boring you?
Yeah, you are, sorry. Yassir, I forgot I was going to ask him then as well. Yassir, have you got any apprehension about Smalling and Lindelof playing their first game starting together, considering the lack of minutes that either of them have had?
I mean, it's not looking great for either of them when you go off kind of the facts. And Lindelof basically had a shaky pre-season, to put it lightly. And Smalling's not really got the best confidence in, coming from Mourinho. So personally for me, I see Blind actually coming in at left back just to kind of help out with just the kind of composure and just to be kind of an option for Smalling. We don't really trust him with the ball, and Lindelof, he might be better in Europe. I think he's had some Champions League experience with Benfica, if I'm not mistaken. But we'll see. I worry more for Smalling though.
Where do you think Tuanzebe sits in the pecking order with this? Because obviously it seems that Bay and Jones are his first choice. It seems that Lindelof and Smalling are his second choice, or third and fourth choice. We've got Rojo, probably not going to be back until after Christmas, so we can kind of forget about him at the moment. But Axel Tuanzebe, one of the most natural defenders we've got at the club, can he jump one of these and become the third choice centre-half before Christmas?
Why not? I mean, he had a pretty good game. Was it against Arsenal last season?
Pretty good. Pretty
amazing.
good. Sanchez is still waking up in the middle of the night, having nightmares that he's following him around his house.
Yeah, I try my best to obviously be a bit, pragmatic, but he had a pretty good game against Arsenal last season, and I think because he's quite young as well in his in the early steps of his career, why not? I mean, Timothy Fosu-Mensah, did something quite similar last season, and I think the season before that as well, just deputising across the back line in midfield, and now he's got his place at Palace on loan. So I think Tuanzebe has got is a hot prospect for the future, and provided he gets opportunities in maybe the League Cup or some FA Cup games, there's every reason why he can, come in and be considered as well. Yeah.
All right, cool. Right, we're going to get into the starting 11s in just a second. We're going to tell you who's doing well in the league. Yassir is doing pretty well in the league after just one game. But before we get that, we're going to have a 30-second ad break. And there we go. Go and buy some of that stuff. Help support the channel. So, starting 11s then. John, I'm going to come to you first. In fact, do you know what? No, I'm not. I'm going to tell you who is top of the league first. So I'm going to say, we've got, John, you are currently top of the league. Doing well, 20 points. We've got Ben Pearce on 18. McCullough's got 17. Work shadowing Yassir is on for 10 out of 11. Not a bad start. Scott is on 9. Sadik's on 9. Suf, you're on 8. And Statman Daddy is on 7 after being involved in every single preview. So, including this one. He's on this one and he's still not getting the points for it. What an absolute widge. So, John, give us your starting 11, please, mate.
I'm gonna switch back to the 4-2-3-1. I went David De Gea in goal. I went a back four of Darmian, Smalling, Lindelof, Valencia. Smalling, Lindelof. I don't know whichever way you like to play him, but I went Matic, Pogba in midfield with Martial, Mkhitaryan, Mata, and Lukaku up top. And I think Jose Mourinho is going to want to take this match extremely seriously. So, we're at home. It's a return to Old Trafford. A return to Champions League night at Old Trafford. So he's going to want United's presence to be felt in the Champions League. And I think he's going to revert back to the attacking four with this 4-2-3-1 because I think it worked well for him in the start of the season. I think this Basel team doesn't really provide as much in terms of an attacking threat. Not saying that we're going to steamroll Basel, but I think it's, in terms of quality, with no disrespect to Basel, I think we do have what it takes to sort of dismantle their backline with the quality that we have in Mkhitaryan, Mata, Martial, and Lukaku.
I agree, mate. I think United, this is a must-win game for United. We've got to go there. We've got to show up and we've got to absolutely bitch slap them. Suf, do you want to give us your starting at 11, please, my mate?
So I've gone for exactly the same backline as John has, because obviously Blind and Jones are banned at me anyway, and
he's basically said that's who's starting. So
yeah. So exactly. I think I'm going to go for Matic, Herrera, and Pogba in a 4-3-3. Matic holding Herrera and Pogba. I don't understand why. Well, I do understand why he's not been playing Herrera and Pogba together in that central midfield role. I personally still maintain and believe that Herrera is Pogba's more natural partner in allowing him to be as creative as he can be. I think sometimes when Mata's in there, Mata's taking a lot more of the sort of creative flair, and Pogba's having to do a bit more of the defensive duties. So I think Matic, Herrera, and Pogba in the midfield. Mkhitaryan outright, Martial on the left, and Lukaku in strike. He might start Lingard maybe, or maybe bring him on. But I think Mickey's probably been one of our most underrated players this season, with I think 6 assists already in the league. So I think give him a run out. It's going to be a tough game, a really, really tough game, I think. But it's important that we make a statement in the first game and go full ham for the 3 points.
It's interesting that you think it's going to be a really tough game. I think United have we got one of the most favourable group draws that we could have had, and I think we've got to really go out there and show what Manchester United's all about in the Champions League, and I think Mourinho's the kind of man to do that with us, actually. So, Yassir, do you want to see if you can improve on the 10 that you got last time?
I'll give it a go. Is Blind banned for the next game?
I think it's Bay and Jones that's banned. I'm not sure Blind is.
Right, it's not Blind. If it's not Blind, yeah. De Gea in goal for a 4-3-3. Valencia, Lindelof, and Smalling, of course, and I'll play Blind at left back.
Isn't Blind? Sorry to interrupt you there. Isn't Blind actually banned for the giving abuse to a UEFA official as well?
I don't know.
I
thought that was just Jones.
Yeah.
Well, I'm sure it was Jones and Blind, but I could be wrong. I could be wrong. Anyway, sorry. Yes, I'll let you continue.
No, it's all right. I'll go with Blind if he's not banned. If he is, I'll go with Darmian, of course. I'm playing a 3 in midfield. He'll play the same 3 against Stoke. You can kind of tell against Stoke they've not played much together as a 3. They weren't, at their best, either of them really, all 3 of them. So I think this is a game where it's another opportunity for them to gel. I think he'll start Marshall on the right, on the left even, and Mata on the right. I think this game he'll rest Mkhitaryan, and he'll rotate Rashford, bring him on.
According to Who Scored, which I've just checked out while you were talking there, the players that are missing is Rojo and Ibrahimovic through injuries, Jones, Baye through suspension, and Young, Shaw and Fellaini are doubtful because of knocks or injuries. So that's according to Who Scored. So I guess that Blind is all right for it.
Right, super Blind in at left back then.
There you go. Righty then. John, have we done you? Did we start with you?
Yes, sir.
All right, okay. I apologise. Right then,
and Lukaku up front to score 8.
To score 8?
Yeah.
All right, please cut that out. It's far too early to be this drunk, mate. Right.
I can't be drunk. I'm writing a dissertation.
Right. I'm going to come straight back to you on that one then, because you are clearly drunk. Tell us what you know about Basel, please.
All right. I'd say my knowledge is based 90% on FIFA, but I'll go for it anyway. Doumbia is probably the one we need to look out for. He's probably got the most Champions League experience. He'll be harassing that defence. He's a quick player, and I worry about Smalling. If he's having one of his unconfident days, maybe he'll mess up or be forced, into doing something we really don't want to see. And I think, also, if you don't know about Eder Balanta, Football Manager 2015, he basically becomes 2007, 2008 Rio Ferdinand. So that's my knowledge on Basel. That's all I've got.
I don't think Doumbia plays for him anymore, mate.
Does he not? Yes, he does.
I think he does.
All right, well. Then we'll easily win 9-0.
John, do you want to tell me something that's real about Basel, please?
Well, I don't know about Basel too much, unfortunately, but I did manage to find an entire YouTube upload of their latest match. It was a 2-1 loss against FC Lausanne Sport in the Swiss Super League, and Basel did look the better side, but I found it very interesting that they found it really hard to sort of play the ball out from the back. I think the keeper opted many a times to play the ball to the single pivot midfielder or to the wide central defenders when they sort of shape out from the back line. And they found it extremely hard when Lausanne sort of came in guns blazing, pressing really high up the pitch. And I think we can do the same sort of damage. With that being said, once Basel was on the ball, they had some decent players. I just forgot the names off the top of my head, but with the transition, once that ball sort of made it out that back line, the midfield had the ball and just sort of turned it into the final third really quickly. And, of course, with no disrespect, I think FC Lausanne Sport sort of lacked the quality to be able to handle them in midfield. But I think we have plenty of quality in our midfield to sort of counter that. And, with the likes of Mkhitaryan and Mata up front, we can dismantle defenses really quickly, rather. And I think with the lack of quality that Basel have, I think we could be, handling this team with respect, but we should be dominant. I do know Ricky van Wolfswinkel.
Yes, thank you. I'm waiting for someone to mention Ricky van Wolfswinkel.
Yes, the former Norwich man. He has currently 7 goals this season, and during that game he wasn't too bad. But
only scored one.
I think
one.
Yes. Well, yeah, exactly. So he wasn't too bad, but I think there will mostly be a lot of cameras on Tolan Xhaka, who's obviously House Xhaka, second of his name, brother of Granit Xhaka. So hopefully we should be treating them with respect. We should be making sure that we do make a massive statement here at Old Trafford, back in the Champions League, and we should take a convincing victory.
Soph, what do you know about Basel?
Well, they're basically the Swiss Barcelona, aren't they? They've won the title for I think the past 8 years in a row. Not the best of starts to their season. So I think they're going to be really up for it, aren't they, this game? So I think, as John's mentioned, I think it's good that it's important that we give them a bit of respect. They've got a bit of pedigree against us as well. You know, I can remember they knocked us out of the Champions League a few years back. Alexander Fry, I believe, scored the winning goal to knock us out of the group stages. So we've got to treat them with respect. I still believe it's going to be a tough game. There will be tough opposition, and they're probably in the early stages. I think they'll want to come out of the blocks and make an impression. Maybe nick a goal as well if possible. So it's important we stay on guard. But I think that John's mentioned, with our attacking pedigree and options available, we should be able to dismantle them once we've settled into our rhythm. So it could be an interesting game, man. I can't wait.
I think they play 3-5-2, so it'll be interesting to see how we do again against another team that's playing three at the back. But yeah, I think United have to go out there. We have to make a statement. I think that is the minimum that we've got to expect. I've got a couple of comments from you guys that are watching at home. Let me pull those up for you. So Jay says, this is where we faltered last season and we can't let this snowball again. Absolutely. United under Jose Mourinho, back in the Champions League. All of these things are stacking up that United have to go and really put it on them for me. Riley Hodgson says, Fellaini deserves to have a start. Give Mata a start off the bench. I wonder what's the tactical need? Are you just giving players minutes because they need minutes? Or like, what do you think is the tactical reason for playing him against Basel? Global Nepal says we need to play a pressure game, got to go direct, aggressive football. Totally agree on that. We really have to step up and show them what we're all about. Now we've got 3 banging comments here. Historian Phil says we have to slap these. Berserk says it's going to be nervy. I'm not sure about these. And then Sohill says 0161, money on a map. So, on that note, I think it's time to go through your score predictions. Suf, I'm going to come to you first. What score do you reckon it's going to be tomorrow night?
I think Basel are going to come out of the blocks early. They're going to nick an early goal, I think. So I'm going to go for... We're going to absolutely, I think, do them. So I think 3-1 or 4-1. I think 4-1. They're going to score early, but we're going to come back and in the later stages of the game, dismantle them.
Oh no, I hope it's not late stages of the game. I can't handle that. Yassir, what score is it going to be?
I'm going to be boring and go with 1-0.
Yep,
I think it'll be.
Cheers for that.
I think it'll be a cagey first kind of Champions League game back at Old Trafford. But I hope I'm wrong and we score 12.
Go tweet
It'll
Yassir.
be all right.
Hashtag boring Yassir. John, what score is it going to be?
I was going to go for 3-1, but I think we have the chat. I think we have it. I think we're going to go 3-0 this time.
Yes, John, I'm going 3-0 as well. That's what I'm going for. 3-0 is what it's going to be. Nice, confident, great start. Back at being a Champions League night at Old Trafford. No beer is on sale, so make sure you stay in the pubs till the last minute. And it's going to be a big queue at the turnstiles. You know the dance by now. Thank you for joining us. Make sure to come and check out all the stuff for Full Time Devils. We're going to have pre-stuff out there. We've got the team news just before, the fan cams just after. Come and join us for all that. If you've not seen the fan cams from weekend, then you need to go and check out all the fan cams from Stoke as well. We've got Statman tomorrow night. We've got Andy Tate tomorrow night. So come and join us pre-match, post-match, and even during the match. So thank you for watching. Go and give these guys a follow on Twitter. Make sure to click like, click subscribe if you've not already. And we'll see you tomorrow. Laters.